Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
What is going on, everybody? We are live and direct from the city of Philadelphia. But this is our 43rd episode of Drunk on Broad. But there's something special about this episode. This is our first episode airing on the Belly Up Sports Network. And we are so glad to be able to partner with Belly Up and start to be able to enjoy the collaboration of content creation across the globe, and to see different collaborators and content creators. So huge shout out to everybody at the Belly Up Network. Huge shout out, Dom, to your partner Mike, who did a lot of behind the scenes helping out here. But just really excited to be able to bring the Drunk on Broad, all of our sports specific content to their network.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Even for our show, Fired Up, like they, just kind of they've given us a big platform for not just local, but around the country, really. So they've really helped us with branching out a bit here and meeting new people and people that appreciate not even so much the things that they appreciate about our show, just the grind. Like,
yeah,
just the idea of having a podcast and talking sports. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I feel like we're kind of getting in on the ground here, but just to see where it's gone. Just we kind of connected with them last week, and to see with even just within that first week the ability of the camaraderie of people reaching out and saying, what do you need? What can I help with? But then also, to kind of get in on the ground floor when they're launching they've partnered with a web TV app called Tiki Live, where you're going to be able to see all of the Belly Up content, not for nothing, but including your Monday night episode of Fired Up on this channel that's going to be available through streaming services, whether it's on an iOS app or whether it's on an Android app, but it's called Tiki Live. Just excited to be able to to kind of start to bring that content out to all of our listeners, all of our and we got our guy Chris who checks in on the daily. He's there. He's one of our loyal listeners. So a huge shout out to Chris. So I know that if he's getting our content, I know that it's reaching out to those loyal listeners. Before we, you can see along the bottom our two sponsors that we kind of usually give a huge shout out to: La Terrain Luxury Watches. We got some premium American made, glasses, eyewear, and then also we've teamed up with a sports themed sunglass company called Team Clicks. And they have a really cool, innovative process where the arms of the glasses are interchangeable and they're sports team specific. So, if you want to support your team, you had the Birds glasses, the Birds wings on Sunday, and maybe you swap them out for, the Sixers on Monday. You throw your Flyers ones in the trash and leave those, you leave those where they should be.
Dude, you know what that would have been good for? September when October. If the Phillies ever made the playoffs, you go to the bank. You go to the bank you go to the Birds game for the 1:00 game in October,
right?
And you head over to the bank, but that doesn't happen here. So,
listen, all that to be discussed on a future Drunk on the Partners episode. But listen, we can jump right into the recap of the Eagles and Bucks. I was listening to you guys on Monday night. Just share with me your overall thoughts on the Eagles Bucks.
Obviously, we all wanted to see a win here. I think most logical people weren't really expecting a win. Um, listen, you got a rookie head coach. You've got a first-time quarterback in his playoff debut. How many have we actually seen this year? You know,
Yeah.
three or four, right? I think only one of them, Joe Burrow, got the win. But
Yeah, you saw
yeah.
a lot of rookie quarterbacks struggle. You know,
Yeah.
even a kid like Kyler Murray, who early on in the season was lighting the world on fire, but his play seemed to drop off minus DeAndre Hopkins, you know?
Right, right. And even look at Derek Carr. Like Derek Carr is not a young guy in this league. It's his first playoff start. So
True. Wow.
yeah, he's only ever the Raiders have only made the playoffs once with him on the roster, and it was the year he got hurt. They were I forget who they played. Houston maybe.
That's
They
wild.
were in the playoffs. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? So, but yeah,
I'm just kind of blown away. Like,
yeah.
listen,
I was surprised. I was surprised to hear that too.
On last week's episode, I was full fanboy, right? I had spent this whole season kind of going through the motions of seeing what we had in what we could build on moving forward, and looking for places where there were growth, looking for building blocks that we could kind of build around, and looking for guys that, you know, we necessarily don't really need anymore. So I went full-blown fanboy. And when Mike was telling you on Monday night that he got through 17-0 on his notes, I literally had like a flashback, because I literally did the same thing. I was taking notes. I was all into it, all the details, and it got to 17-0, and I just shut it all down.
It's like deja vu.
Right, like it started and ended so quickly.
Right.
And I was like a glutton for punishment. Like, I'm like, all right, well, this is the last game I'm going to watch until next, August or September. I sit around and I watch, and I'm looking for things to hang on to.
The positives, absolutely.
Because we're trying to hold on to the optimism, because we know it's fading so fast. And here we are, and I'm looking at, and it just, nothing ever happened. The offense looks abysmal. It's just so mind-blowing. It's just so frustrating, because you saw glimpses of things that could be positives that you could use moving forward.
Right.
And in this game, you saw nothing.
Yeah, and I said it on our show on Monday, like, it always sucks to lose. It always sucks even worse to lose in the playoffs. This was probably the easiest playoff loss. I didn't get to say it on my show on Fired Up on Monday, but I actually have a platform to say it here. I'm 25 years old, okay? I have not been through a lot of, the misery that Eagles fans have. I've had my own share, trust me. But I just think it's so funny that I say that this is probably the easiest playoff loss that I have not suffered, but like gone through.
Okay.
It's so funny that the first heartache I've ever had in my entire life, 5 years old, 2002, against Tampa. So it's so funny. Like that's the first like painful memory in my life. Not even just sports, just like in life. And I think it just comes full circle that they were the worst pain and the easiest pain.
Dom, I can tell you, like, that game, I was crushed. Like,
Yeah.
that was...
I was crying. I was 5 years old. I was crying my eyes out.
Like, it was all there to be had, right? The storyline wrote itself. You're closing down the vet. You got Tampa coming in. They can't play well in the cold. Like,
right.
It was all there. The way that the game starts.
And who they were going to play in the Super Bowl.
Right. Like that. And that game was already written in stone. Like, you could have written that victory 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right.
And then it all goes for naught. And I thought, like, this game was almost painless. Like,
right.
It was painless because there was nothing to be had. There was nothing to glom onto early on in the game, like I thought the first mistake in the game was not taking the ball.
Right.
When you let Tampa take the ball and then run down the run, they essentially steamroll down the field, put 7 on the board, 3 and out, go back, 7 more on the board. Now it's 14-0. You go, I think they, in the next drive, I think they ran 4 plays. They punt, or like,
Yeah.
you're down 17-0 before you can even blink, and the game's even over, and it's the middle of the first quarter, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And it's probably the easiest playoff loss for a couple of reasons, because you're playing the greatest quarterback of all time. You're playing the defending Super Bowl champions. You're playing a favorite to win again, along with the fact that, like you said, they got punched in the mouth early on. And we felt that as soon as they were down 17-0. I mean, it's like those movies where you see the bully pick on the kid, and finally the kid punches back and the bully doesn't say anything. I'm not saying the Eagles are bullies, because they're not, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're just caught by surprise, and before you know it's over.
It's the thing that I think for me that was so frustrating is that I know the games in the second half of the season, and I know you guys talked about it too, they played lackluster talent. Right now, they only played who was on their schedule. They can't control what quarterbacks are playing for those teams and who gets injured and who's playing, right? You play who's on your schedule.
Right.
At the same time, though, you look at the things that they did well in those games to make them successful, but yet in this game, they put themselves in a position to be not able to utilize their strengths, right? You give the opportunity for Tampa to put points on the board early before you even get the ball. So now you feel like you're in a fight or flight, right? So now you got to throw the ball. So you're putting your quarterback in a position where you know he's not going to be successful because he's shown that in the past early on in the season. I would have loved to see a different game plan. Not the same one that we saw when they played Tampa the first time.
Right.
It was legit the same exact.
Right. Yeah,
game
absolutely. Plan. Absolutely. The first 7 weeks of the season, they had this game plan that didn't work. I believe it was week 8 they played the Lions, whatever week that was. From that point on, they switched things up. And then once the playoffs start, once that game against Tampa starts, they went back to what they were doing. Like, they just didn't do what helped them succeed that second half of the year. And it's like, that questions you about the coach. And I've been on a roller coaster with this coach.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have heard me
Yeah.
on our show. Early on I was not impressed, and then I became impressed, and then was not impressed, and then impressed again, and I'm definitely not impressed again.
Yeah, I think you're seeing the trials and tribulations of a first-year coach, right? You're seeing a guy who's trying to figure it out. There were parts of what he did that I liked. I liked the fact that mid-season he sees something that's working and goes with it and says, I'm not going to keep doing the same thing that's not working. I think some of the frustrating pieces for me are like, for Christ's sake, what the fuck is Jalen Reagor doing on the field at any point in time?
Right.
Like,
do you think that's like a Howie Roseman thing more than a Nick Sirianni thing?
I do.
Right.
I do, but it's still mind-numbing that you cannot recognize the fact that even Howie Roseman, right, who's obviously in the last couple drafts been able to identify some talent. They've had some success in the first couple rounds drafting guys. For you to hitch your wagon to this guy after he's proven to you that they got to force feed him the ball and he still can't be successful like that. If there was ever a place for him to shine in that Dallas game, right? And he's got 2-3 catches for 18 yards.
Right.
Like, him being on the field, I don't get, but, I'm listening to Sirianni in this press conference today, and they're talking about, he's we got to do a better job at being like Nick. You don't have to do a better job for him. He
Right.
sucks.
Right. He's gonna do a better job for you.
Right. He's got to do better for you. And if he doesn't, the fuck off the field.
Right.
Like, put Gainwell out there. Put Huntley out there. Put Greg Ward out there. I know Greg Ward was injured, but like you got other options. That to me, I don't get it.
My thing about Rager too is like we all know who he was drafted in front of. It's just the fact that even if he was drafted after him, he's a first round pick. This guy shows up every 12 games. That means he's had 3 good games in his career. So, I'm sorry, not games, plays. Forget the game. I could think of 3. The punt return against Green Bay last year. Week 1 against Atlanta, he had a big play for the touchdown.
Right.
And then, what was it? Against Washington, maybe, the Tuesday night? There was another game he had this year, later at the end of the year, where he had a really nice play. And those are like the only 3. That's what I'm saying. They're the only 3 I could think of for a first-round pick. And you know what? Who was taken before Justin Jefferson?
Right. You know, and listen, Dom, not for nothing, but like, regardless of where he was picked, like, he just sucks.
Right.
Like, first round pick, third round pick, free agent, like, he sucks. Like, you're taking away the opportunity for another guy to be on the field and be productive. How many times do you have to see him run a jet sweep for negative yards to know that he sucks at doing that? How many times do you have to see him muff a punt to know that he sucks at doing that? Or like that I got to put to bed. And Mike's asking what, the odds of, Rager. Yeah, I hate to say this, Mike, but like the Eagles have a history of letting those guys play for a couple years. So like,
well, and I said it the other night. It's an ego thing for Howie too. Like, they don't
want to be wrong.
Yeah, they'll be on this roster as long as Howie thinks that they should be on this roster.
The only way that he's not here's what I'll say, Mike. The only way they're not on the roster is if they figure out a way to flip them for some kind of value, right? If you can flip him for like if you can put him in a package, right? I've seen we've all seen the Calvin Ridley packages, right? The first round, like if he's a toss in for that, fine. Either one of them. If you can,
and if you're gonna do that, you got to do that this year because you can't have another year of him, like another year of tape of him play. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
because he's still right. He's still young enough to where a team will call or a team will watch him and say, he's still got 2 years left on his or 3 years left on his rookie deal, whatever it is. We could maybe we could change him. Maybe we can get the most out of him. So if you're gonna do that, you got to do that now, like this offseason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
And he went through like a stretch, like it's crazy. Like I saw this yesterday or the day before. He went through like 4 or 5 straight games where he had 0 yards, -3 yards, like consecutively. How does not only a first round pick do that, but a guy who starts on the field like every week? How does a guy do that?
It's one of the frustrating parts about Sirianni is that like you're almost figuring out a way to force feed him into the game plan, which goes to your point that you were talking about earlier, right? Is this a Howie thing?
Right.
Or is this a Sirianni thing? And it could be a Sirianni thing, right? He comes from the wide receiver coach room, right? So maybe he's got a soft place in his heart for Rager, and he sees that he's doing something in practice that he thinks might be able to manifest itself on the field. But then when it doesn't manifest itself on the field week after week after week after week, like, come on. Like, let's be honest. You're better off with and this was something that I thought about earlier on with one of the offseason moves. Like, that's a group that I think you don't address in the draft, but you maybe address in free agency.
Yep. Yeah, and that was something that like we were going to talk about too. But like kind of save it for closer to the the start of free agency and stuff. But like, I agree, man. If they're looking to draft a receiver in the first round, if they draft a receiver in the third, fourth round, that's fifth round, that's a depth move.
Right.
But I just think they need to go get a big body next to Smith, and I think that would make Smith an even better player than what we've seen this year.
Right, like a Mike Williams ish, like
I
big
don't.
Allen
Yeah,
Robinson.
I was gonna say Allen Robinson really intrigues me. Mike Williams intrigues me too, but I think he's gonna get a lot of money. And
Okay.
I just don't think he could. He hasn't really proven that he could stay totally healthy and
Okay,
do it
Well, yeah, I
every
think
week
we're,
consistently.
the big body guy,
Right.
and that only kind of separates and elevates everybody else in the room.
Correct.
Mike wants to
I wish.
Listen, Mike, your mouse to Howie's ears, right? Like,
Hey, what if they bring Derek Carr here and which I don't want. I've seen that going around. If they bring Derek Carr here, man, I don't know. Devontae could follow his college teammate.
yeah,
I'm just
he
kidding.
could. And listen, and to kind of jump into right into the quarterback room, right? I think what you saw probably Hurts' worst game of his career on Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Like all the things that we saw him struggle with, and the people that argue the body of work, right? You're now talking about what's it, 22 games?
Right.
Like we're not talking about last year when we're talking about 4 games. Right now we're talking about a season and a quarter, 22 games. You're seeing a fuller picture
And a playoff game.
and a playoff game, right? So, and I was kind of on the, like, you're playing meaningful games down the stretch. You're really going to find out what you have.
Yeah.
And I think you did. And I think you found out that, could he be serviceable? I think he could, right? But I don't ever envision him as a guy that is going to win you a Super Bowl.
Right.
And
Definitely.
if that's the goal, then
you'll get another guy.
then you need another guy, right? Like you can't be in a position where you're constantly battling the guy who's in the pocket, who's rushing decisions, right? Who's consistently on Sunday, he consistently was thrown into traffic, right? He's misreading pocket presence, right? The one play that Orlovsky breaks down, where he kind of steps up. The pocket is insanely clean, and I'm looking at it, and I literally, as the play's happening, I press pause, and I'm looking at my father-in-law, and I'm like, look at that guy. Like there's like 5 yards of separation between that guy, and he steps up, and then his eyes come off that receiver, and now he's in the flat, and he totally misses that. Right. He held on to the ball too long. Like he was missing guys. Now, the one play that got highlighted a lot was the play to Goddard where, Goddard misses the catch. I think what I was frustrated most about is that the progress that you saw that he made down the stretch wasn't anywhere to be found.
Right. And listen, I live tweeted the game on our show on Monday. I feel as though maybe not a little too harsh on Jalen Hurts, but I'll be honest. I came out and I said I think he flat out stinks. I think that was just me being a little upset about the way this season ended and not totally believing in him. I don't think he flat out stinks. I just think that if you want a quarterback, and I think every franchise, every fan, no matter what team it is, who you root for, what sport it is, they want that guy that's going to win them games. And I just don't think Jalen Hurts has enough to win you games. Like
he doesn't
on his own.
He doesn't do what he doesn't do the most important thing that you need him to do, which is to have the arm talent to be able to rip a pass from a hash to the numbers and put it in a guy's chest. It's the most important. Like it to me, it's great that he has all of those intangibles, the work ethic, the leadership.
I agree completely.
You want your kids to be like him. You want your daughter to date him. Like
he's a 10 out of 10 guy.
Right. He's a great guy. But he doesn't do the thing that you need your quarterback to do to win you a Super Bowl.
And I get that he's young. I get that. But I love what you just brought up, the fact that it's not 4 games where last offseason we're going into this year, oh, it's only 4 games. It's not week 6, and it's only, okay, that's only 10, 12 games. We're now 22 games in a playoff game. I mean, at what point, it's like the Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons thing where, like, the first 4 or 5 years, it was like, oh, they're 22, 21. They're 23 and 24. Like, at what point are we going to start saying, like, these guys should probably take that next step? And, like, I understand Hurts is still, 23 or 2, something like that. I get that. But, like, if you're an NFL quarterback and you can't see a guy get open, you can't see the play before it actually happens, you're not an NFL quarterback. And, like, you can learn that stuff. But, like, 22 games in, I think you should know that stuff. Well, and he's still, and we, like you said, we saw it on Sunday. He still struggled with it. And
Dom, there are peers of his that are doing that. Right? Joe Burrow. Now listen, I know Justin Herbert has never played in a playoff game, but Justin Herbert can rip it from all over the field.
He's not the reason they didn't make the playoffs this year.
Right. Their coach made
their defense. Yeah.
A couple of dumbass decisions on the last game, but you're not I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and you've got guys who are in his age group that are in his experience level that are doing it. So when you see those guys that are at that level that are doing those things, that it only kind of highlights the things that he doesn't do well.
I completely agree.
Well,
it's like that Meatloaf song. You took the words right out of my mouth.
You got to sing that one, Dom.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It must have been while you were kissing me. There you go.
Well, with that, Dom, to recap the season quickly.
Yep.
What did we learn from this team? This team was all about observations.
No, we learned a lot about this team. I think this franchise, positives and negatives. The most important things I think we learned, or at least I learned, is I don't know if Hurts is the guy. I don't think Hurts is the guy. I do like the fact that Sirianni doesn't seem like he has an ego. He is not like Doug Peterson and Andy Reid, who both had a ton of success here, but didn't make the adjustments in game week to week. And I feel like we did see that a lot this year with Sirianni within the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it wasn't all negatives this year. It wasn't.
Listen, you took a team that was started off. Now, listen, the first half of their schedule was hard as fuck, but like you took a team that was 2-5, and they ended up with 9 wins and ended up in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a positive.
Like even though those games were easy games, right? In quotes,
right.
You still have to go out there and play those games, right?
They're division games,
right? And a lot of those games were division games, right? And that Giants game is a prime example of a team that you should have beaten, but didn't, right? So I think for me, like I look at like I'm going to focus on the strengths of the team, right? The offensive line is something that you absolutely have to build around.
And
Devontae
keep building
Smith
them too.
Is a fucking animal and a dude that
Darius Slay. I mean,
Slay was the next guy on my list, right? Like those are your guys that you got to build around, right? The key to me, Dom, that kind of enlightened me for the whole season, when they had Devontae Smith in the game against the Cowboys, and they're trying to force feed him the ball to get him that record, I'm looking at that and going, where the fuck was this for the first 17 weeks, like for the entire season?
Right.
Like, it was obvious that because Dallas was playing their starters, he was getting open every play, and you force fed him the ball. So now, next season, that dude has, like, if you're an elite wide receiver in the NFL, you have to be getting 10, 12, 15 targets, right? There should not be a game where he's getting, 3 targets for, listen, does he get locked down by somebody? Sure. But, like, he can't be getting 3 targets for 23 yards.
Right.
Like, he's got to be a guy that you force feed the ball. And when I look ahead, they got the first 4 rounds next year, they got 4 picks. They got they got 3 out of the first. They're going to get 3 out of the top 19 picks. Where are you if you're all right, Dom, you're pseudo Howie Roseman.
Oh boy.
15, 16, and 19.
Right.
Where are you looking? Maybe not player specific, but positions.
Right. Yeah, I got you. So we already talked about it. I don't think they draft a receiver. I don't think that's, or at least not in the first or second round.
But here's the thing: they got a pick like at 53, right? If the kid from Alabama that got hurt, like Jameson Williams,
right?
If he's still there at 50, then
hey, you may see them draft. You may see them move one of those first rounders back, and at pick 38 or whatever it is, and he might be there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that is definitely.
I'm okay if they take it and move it to next year.
Like if I think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any chance they have 3 picks this year in the first round.
No, because
I don't think there's any chance
in the future they're going to have to at some point, if those picks pan out.
Yeah.
Then they're going to take a big cap hit. It would make more sense to me if they'd
have to pay 3 first-round draft picks.
Right. If they're going to play the phones on one of those picks, maybe at 19, and if somebody wants to move up, maybe they move back to. Maybe they do what they did last year. Right. They saw Miami jumped up. Miami gave them their first round. What was the following year for them to be able to jump up 2 spots. But to me, in those 3 picks, take any of those 3 guys that played in that national championship game on Monday night.
Yeah.
Like, if the guy played at Alabama, if the guy played defense at Alabama or Georgia, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like, put them on there. But they gotta address. So many holes.
And even though those doubts I have about Jalen Hurts, I don't know if I would listen. I've said multiple times to people not on the record. I've said it on the record. I've said it on Twitter. I don't know what these quarterbacks are going to be. Everybody thinks they know what these quarterbacks are going to be. I thought Josh Allen was going to stink, and he turns out to be a top 5 quarterback. So with that being said, though, I don't think I'm taking a quarterback in the first round. My biggest thing is linebacker, and I guess my 3 biggest things. Like if they did use all 3, I would say linebacker, defensive end, and cornerback, or defensive end, linebacker. If that kid from Iowa is there, that center from Iowa, I am very intrigued.
I saw a video of him wrestling the kid that got injured. He was wrestling Tristan Wirfs in high school, and Tristan Wirfs dwarfs him.
Right.
And he literally bear hugs, picks him up, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh wait, I need that guy.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Guy looks like he could be like.
He is not just.
2.0.
He is not just a football player. He is an athlete.
Yeah.
Um,
And it fits that Kelsey mold.
exactly. Kelsey is an athlete. So yeah, I mean that like he would if he what do we have 15? That's the first one we have.
15, 16, and 19.
If he's there at 15 or 16 or whatever the first pick is going to be, because like I said, I think they do make some moves.
Okay.
And he's there, I sign me up. I know that's not going to be like the sexy pick, and like people aren't going to be like, you know, I mean, I know you never know. I mean, we love Jason Kelsey, so
Listen, put that I feel like anybody that you can put in the room with Jeff Stoutland
yeah,
is only going to get better.
yep,
So, you know, and listen, Dom, if you want Hurts to be successful, you got to surround him with talent. You got to be able to protect him.
Yep.
He's not going to be able to do a whole lot, you know, laying on his back. So if that's a guy, in my mind, I'm looking, you know, at 3 levels of the defense, right? If you can get somebody up front, like an edge rusher, if you can get, you know, somebody in the middle of your defense that can run, like the kid from Georgia, Nakobe Dean, that'll run sideline to sideline. If you can get a safety, I know there's a linebacker from Utah too.
Utah, yeah.
If there's a guy at the back, I just don't want you to reach for position because you got so many holes. Take 3 guys that hypothetically you can plug and play, right? Those guys are going to jump in day one, pencil them in to be contributors. I don't know. I think that, and again, there's a lot of conversation to happen around, but to me, I think you have the opportunity to really kind of reset your defense.
Yep.
In a way that unless somebody drastically falls and is sitting in your lap. Now, the quarterback conversation is a whole nother animal, right? If you're Howie Roseman and you're not, and you saw like that press conference today, you said Jalen Hurts is our number one, and then you fall in love with Kenny Pickett and you're like, that guy can win us a Super Bowl. Go take him. Like if you in your heart of hearts feel like you can't see Hurts taking you to a Super Bowl, but you can see Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis or Carson Strong or, you know.
I don't disagree with you at all. And it's just the whole world hates these guys coming out this year. And it's like, I brought it up to Mike too. Like, when's the last time we had a quarterback come out of the draft? Maybe, I mean, I know Trevor Lawrence didn't have the year everybody expected him to have. So, but him coming out, everybody was like, "Oh wow!"
He's also getting coached by Creeper Urban Meyer.
Right.
Like that doesn't help.
But when was the last time a guy came out and we were like, "Wow"? Probably what?
Luck.
Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Those
Luck.
guys only come around. The guy before him was probably Peyton Manning. Like those guys only come around every 12, 15 years.
Right,
so
and remember, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, those guys sucked.
Yeah,
like,
their first,
that sucked for the first couple of years.
And so obviously there's not a guy this year that just jumps out to you like, wow, this guy's gonna be great. So my thing is like the whole world, and I said it earlier, the whole world hated Josh Allen coming out of college. Like nobody thought he was gonna be good. Nobody know who Patrick Mahomes was unless you were a super college fan. Like
no,
and everybody, and even Deshaun Watson, like I don't think people were like that enthused by him. No. He went what 12, 15, whatever he went.
Yep.
So those guys can be found. It's those guys can have talent. Like I don't know. I would not be opposed to it. But I just could you imagine this city if they took a quarterback in the first round? My goodness, this city would burn down.
The fan base would implode. Literally. They would implode because you're essentially putting yourself in the same position that you were in when you drafted Hurts, right? You had a guy who fan base was all in on, and then you draft a guy that's going to be his backup, right? To me, I feel like you're not that one person away. Like you're not that one position away. You got so many holes that you can't afford to spend the capital of multiple picks on one guy because you're not that one guy away.
Right.
So,
And if they were that one guy away, I'm sure they would trade for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or whatever.
or
Right. And I don't know how much time we have left, but I'm good to go the rest of the night. But can I ask you a question? So what are your thoughts today on the Howie Roseman, Jalen Hurts? He's the guy next year. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
it's what I expected him to say. I don't necessarily think that he wholeheartedly believes
Me
that
neither.
Hurts is the guy.
Me neither. Because we saw the last how many years Carson Wentz is the guy. They gave him the money, and then they traded him a year later.
To me, it seems like a smokescreen. Like it's saying what I have to say because I can't give anybody else in the league ammunition to know that I'm in a position of weakness.
Right.
So for me, I think that if they're having a conversation with Hurts, I think they're saying it's your job right now.
Right.
But out in public, they're going to go out and say, no, you're the guy, right? He's the guy. He's the guy that we believe in. What are you going to go say?
Right.
Like Gardner Minshew's that are they're going to battle it out in training camp. Like,
I think it's hilarious though that like he says that today and like the whole city, like all of Eagles Twitter like puts out, look, see, he said he's the guy, but little do they not know, like little, or what they don't see or what they don't say or what they don't put out there is when they asked him that question, he waited, he went on like this 2-minute rant about not giving a clear answer, and then finally, I forget who said the question. It might have been like Brandon Lee Gouton or somebody.
yeah.
He said, "So is Jalen Hurts the guy? Yes or no?"
Right.
And then finally, how he finally says yes or whatever he says. I just think people like it's like scrolling through Facebook and you see an article and like you read the headline and it's like, oh no, the world is ending, like but not reading the article.
Right.
So
listen, it's the fanboy drinking the Ecto Cooler, green Gatorade, and not being 100% dialed in on like what is actually happening with the team. Right? They're so dialed in on I want the team to be doing well, and they're going to win 12 games, and they're going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. Like those are the people that are also saying the same things. Right. There's so for me, I'm looking at like the likelihood that he's the quarterback next year is probably high. But beyond next year, if you can move on from him and he becomes your backup and you can name your guy, right?
Right.
A Wilson, for whatever it's worth. Rodgers, Watson, if he turns out to not be a complete creep, I don't know. Like I'm not sold on Hurts. He doesn't do enough. He did enough to be productive this year, but he doesn't do enough for me to be a difference maker in a playoff game.
And we can say that 22 games in.
Correct. Right. And what are you going to say? People were saying, oh, we'll give him another season. Right. So what are you going to say when he's I'm not going to, again, right. We're not a math pod, but like when he's 30 plus games into his, right. Like how much do you really believe that you're going to see 30 plus games into his, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. Listen, and even going back to the Wentz thing real quick, like, dude, I was on fire on Sunday with my tweets, but I've put it out there. I said I think Hurts stinks, and I just think so many people were so hurt by Carson Wentz.
You were spot on with that.
That they love Jalen Hurts more than they think they do, and it turns out that they both stink, in my opinion.
They were so hurt by Wentz that they wanted so internally they were so hurt by Wentz that they internally want Hurts to be so good, so bad that they're willing to overlook all the shit that they criticize Wentz for.
And listen, I was on that other side with Carson Wentz. I admit, I after
I got a
that
jersey hanging in my closet, Tom.
yeah,
I'll
I
be
got
with
two
you.
of them. I got two of them, man.
Oh.
So
I was praying
listen,
that Micah Parsons was going to get drafted by the Eagles so I could rip the Wentz part off of the
oh, there
back,
you go.
put
Yeah.
a Parsons on the back, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, so listen, I was all on that with Carson Wentz. I understand what people are going through. You know, that Jacksonville game that he played, I think, kind of sealed the deal for me a little bit. But listen, like I understand what you guys are going through. You can get through it. You can see the other side. You know, look at me. I made it through, so you guys could do it too for all the hurts people.
Oh my God. Well, Don, before we go to final thoughts, who impressed you in that wild card round?
Like around the league.
Yeah.
Players or teams? Because I can kind of.
Give me one of each.
Okay, so I would say Joe Burrow, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even Cincinnati as a whole.
Yeah. They're exciting.
Listen, I was just telling my father-in-law like tonight that if that Buffalo has been such a roller coaster of a team this year. If the team that shows up that showed up last week, if that team shows up, they walk to the Super Bowl.
Easily.
And I think that if that same team shows up that showed up against the Patriots, they show up against Kansas City, they'll walk into Kansas City and win.
Oh, absolutely.
But I definitely Josh Allen is just on another level. I also said that if San Francisco played the way they played the first three quarters against the Cowboys, they could make a run.
You can see, and Deebo Samuel is a guy who just scores from anywhere on the field. It's uberly impressive, but like, you know, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, the quarterback play across the board in the games, in the teams that won, you saw the elite level of talent, right? So if you're comparing apples to apples and you look at a game that Jalen Hurts played and you look at the dearth of quarterback talent and compare him to a peer, right? To a Joe Burrow, to a Josh Allen, right? You saw the disparity within the talent level. And I thought the Bengals missed when they took Chase. Not that Chase wasn't going to be talented, but I thought they really could have used an offensive lineman like
I
the
completely
guy
agree.
from Oregon. Now, that has turned out to be like a monster movie. Like those two, the connection that the two of them have.
There's nothing better than chemistry. With whatever you do, sports, music, movie, whatever it is. You know, your regular work day. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing better than chemistry, and that's what they had. They have.
Yeah, so it's like a really good lineup of games though. Like the Bengals Titans,
Yeah.
and the Packers the 49ers Packers on Saturday, and then the Rams Bucks and the Bills Chiefs on Sunday.
Yeah, I was also just telling my father-in-law tonight. He asked me like what my predictions were. I think the Bills beat the Chiefs, and then I think Tennessee's going to win, but I want Cincinnati to win. And then I think Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl. And then I think the Packers beat the Niners. And then what's that other game?
Rams Bucks.
Rams Bucks. I think the Rams win.
Okay.
And then I think the Packers go to the Super Bowl. And I think Buffalo, if this Buffalo team that showed up this past week, if they continue to play this way in the playoffs, I don't think anybody's going to stop them because I just think they are so good offensively, so good defensively. So it's just all three levels.
Right. And Buffalo also offers you a blueprint for the Eagles of what to do, right? They saw Josh Allen struggle early on. What do? They go out and get him a monster wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, and you see his talent exponentially jump off the board.
And it kind of goes back to the thing you were saying earlier too. Like, and I know Josh Allen was a first-round pick. He was, what was he, 10th overall, 8th overall, whatever he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. But it's another guy who's in that 2-3 year window. He was in an AFC Championship game last year. Like, you know what I mean? And I understand his team is in a different position than the Eagles are as a whole. But It's Josh Allen. It's Joe Burrow. It's in Jason Kelsey's words, it's the whole team. No, it's just guy after guy.
Yeah, it's a complete team effort. So, yeah, no, I listen. They're going to be great. It's going to be great watching. I would love to see the Bengals win. I think
I'll tell you, there's only one
Packers-
team I hate. It's Tennessee. So
Yeah, yeah, no, so I'm with you on that. Like, I would like to see I think the Packers will win. Fuck Tom Brady, so I want to see
Yeah.
the Rams. I'd love to see the Rams win.
Ultimately, I do think the Packers do beat the Bills, but I just think if that Bills team, that's my Super Bowl prediction. Bills Packers. I think Rodgers is going to win, but if that team shows up, that Bills team, it's going to be fun.
I went State Farm. I'm going to State Farm Super Bowl.
There you go. I like it. Dude,
So
listen.
think
I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy from the beginning. I know a lot of people the last couple of years have kind of fallen off that bandwagon a little bit because you look at his first 10 years or 12 years, whatever it is, with McCarthy, and McCarthy kind of held him back a lot, we thought. And then he made it to 2 NFC Championship games and lost both with LaFleur. So, like, I just think a lot of people see him as a choke artist more than anything else, or more than a winner, I guess. But I'm still on it, man. I love Rodgers. I'd love to see him win another one.
You know, I think, and yeah, the Bills have struggled in Kansas City.
Right.
They have struggled against Steve Spagnuolo, and what he's able to do in essentially creating something out of nothing, considering the amount of the money that they put on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know. To me, the Chiefs are a team that until someone knocks them off, I hear you. It's a team that they have a ton of weapons at every level. They're one guy gets hurt, they're constantly getting they get the next guy to step up. I don't know. I'm just, and that kind of leads me into my final thoughts, Dom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just super excited. This is a lot. There's a lot of good sports right now. You got, college basketball is starting to ramp up.
Yep, March Madness soon.
Hockey's on. You got the play. You got the NBA's on. The NFL's in the playoffs. There's a lot of great sports content. It's really easy to try to find something to watch. So just enjoy, and go root for your team. Go enjoy. Have fun. Just go out and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely.
Don, what do you got for final thoughts?
I am excited for this weekend slate of games. And like you said, just kind of watching. This is to me. I always say that July through December is like the best time of year. January through June is a little tough, but sports kind of makes that.
It's going to get really dry
better.
when the Phillies are the only ones playing.
Yeah. So hopefully.
Yeah. Right.
So
otherwise we'll be watching overseas baseball.
Yeah. When does the spring football start? Is that next year?
Oh, the USFL.
Yeah.
And we've got the Philadelphia Stars are back.
Right. Correct.
Hey, listen, maybe we'll be on here recapping Philadelphia Stars.
Could you imagine?
USFL games.
Gosh, just another show we could add. One,
Oh my god.
one that focuses on them. But yeah, I mean,
crap.
just I'm excited to watch these games. Like I said, it's not the most fun time of the year. It's the depressing parts of the year, and sports really helps that. With, like you said, March Madness, or like I said, March Madness coming up. You said college basketball. Even like the draft stuff, like I always get excited with that stuff.
And listen, with us having those 3 first-round picks, there's gonna be a lot of player evaluation. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. So,
yep.
Hey, listen, Don. Before we jump out of here, we'll again shout out our sponsors, Lots of Rain Watches and Team Clicks. Again, huge shout out to Belly Up for bringing us on and allowing us to kind of bring our content to a different level and share.
Dude, I'm so happy you guys are a part of this. Like,
It's awesome.
I mean, it's just great people with other great people coming together to all be great people. So
Yeah, everybody's got good content,
Yep.
and it's one of the things that we've kind of brought to our show is sharing out that go out and support your local podcasts. Whatever your genre is, do a little research, go on, find stuff that you're interested in, go find things that you love to listen to. But really happy to be part of the Belly Up community, and look forward. We're gonna have a preview. We're gonna have a Drunk on Ice, our hockey show on Friday night at 9. So be sure to check out that, and then we'll be back every Tuesday, Wednesday around 8:30. So look for our next episode. It'll probably be Drunk on the Court, talking all things Sixers, and then we'll just keep putting out good content. Thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And with that, go Birds.
Go Birds. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.